Hello, this is Catherine from the Twin Flame Mystique. Welcome back if you're tuning back into the channel. And if you're new to our channel, hello, thank you, and welcome. Now, this is the second part to a video that I've made having to do with the shadow people. And I made a video talking about how they multiply, and what Spirit was showing me about how they attach themselves to negative emotions and low energies within ourselves. And I'm just going to tell you briefly now about an experience that a close friend of mine has had. She's also a medium, a psychic medium, and she's also an energy healer. And we psychically protect daily. And even so, she was psychically attacked through a woman that contacted her for healing, and turned out that it wasn't healing that she was wanting. She had an entity attachment to her, and this shadow attachment to this woman has was acting as an energy succubus, if you want to call it that. And just by being in the woman's energy just through text messenger, you can feel how draining it was. And she shared that with me and was asking my opinion. And let me tell you right away, my force field, if you want to call it that, my protection, it narrowed in pretty quiet and tight and thick. And right side of my head started tingling, and I was feeling dizzy, and I was feeling very drained, and I felt like if something was over my shoulder right away. You don't have to be in a physical presence, in that presence of someone for their energy to come through, and it will attach itself, looking for a host. So psychically protect by wherever your faith is. If you ground and protect through your through spirit guides, your angels, your ancestors, Jesus, God, whatever ascended masters that you call in, whatever your practice is, whatever your preference is, prayer, that is your protection, because that is where your belief is that you are protected. Okay? And do it constantly, and don't ever think that it's not going to come through just a text, or come through just, a message or a picture. Know that everything has energy to it. Everything does. The music that you hear, the movies that you watch, the TV shows that you watch, the words that you use, the words that you're hearing, just everything has energy to it. And the shadow, just like the the shadow, just like the light, are on their path to ascension as well. And But this psychic attack was, I had never felt this level of psychic attack before. I was shown how this woman has this shadow entity. I was shown by spirit, this woman has this shadow entity, and that entity has an entity, and that entity has an entity, and they are just looking over each other's shoulder. And that is how strong her ability to drain your energy, like an energy vampire, energy succubus, is. And the woman laughed out of explaining to my friend that when she started doing this kind of work also, that her child woke up with a bite mark on its leg. That was a cue. That was very puzzling. Just know that just as we live in the light, the dark is just as alive, and just psychically protect. Something else I wanted to talk about having to do with the shadow figures and shadow entities. Now, I did speak in my first part of this video, about where I work at, and where my twin work. We work at the same place. We work with hospice patients, and there are shadow people that are there attached to the negativity of what their ailment is. And just that we became aware of them, that broke through their density. And we can see them at the end of the hallways, shuddering and not as dense. And let me tell you, upset that we are aware of them and that we see them, know what they're up to, and one of the patients that I see is doing better since then. It hasn't been able to come down the hall. These shadow entities have a scent to them as well. And their scent is in conjunction to how can I say this, is depending on their strength level, if you get me. It is a disgusting scent, and it's the scent of evil. It's a scent of the darkness. And you started noticing this peculiar scent in this patient's room. And once I came into the knowing of that, of what that was, and was able to start psychically protecting in that patient's environment, and around this patient and down the halls. That broke through the density of this shadow person, the shadow entity. And that's when we started seeing it staying at the end of the hall, shuddering as it's pacing back and forth, because now I've got light shining through it. So, and that scent started to dissipate, started to leave this patient's room. So even though these are hospice patients, it can be turned around. It can. Our energy centers, our chakras, are connected to particular organs and parts of our bodies. And it's a mind over energy perception, okay, that needs to happen. But we can't, you can't do it for someone. They have to want to do it for themselves. So what we can do is, in cases like this, is whatever the attachment, try to make the density as thin as possible, because the denser that this shadow entity follows his energy into the next life, or into the next life, the next incarnation, it won't be strong enough to follow, or strong enough to attach itself to another host and spread. Because in the first video I spoke about how I was shown that these particular shadow entities, how they divide, how they split, and then they split and become two, and are able to attach themselves to another host, and then another host, and then another host, and another host. So that's how they spread from lifetime to lifetime, or different realities. So, and that's how we can arm ourselves in this war against the darkness. So, like I said, just in your awareness of them is being halfway there. And then from there, it's how you are psychically protecting. It is how you are going to perceive to win, to battle over them. So, all right, well, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there, and I'm sure I'm going to be coming back here soon with another video having to do with the shadow entity, the shadow person, or at least our experiences of my twin and I, Tanya and I, and just like I said, continue, and if you haven't started, begin it as soon as possible. A daily practice of psychic protection, okay? Whatever it is that you feel resonance in, your prayer, meditation, whomever you call it, whatever whatever your practice is, make your intention for it to be the psychic protection. Just know that we are all psychic mediums. We are all innate. These abilities are innate in all of us. It is just depending on your awareness as to which abilities you have out, having to do with your awareness and your purpose and so forth. So, all right, well, I'll leave you there and psychically protect. Okay. On to the next video. You have a good evening. Thank you again for tuning in.